The 16 Principles of Highly Evolved Beings. These 16 principles are what God has discussed with Mr. Neale Donald Walsh through the books Conversation with God Book 3 and Book 4, which talks about highly evolved beings and what principles they have for living that allow for no conflict, no war, and no self-destruction, both physical and spiritual. Now that we've covered the first two principles, let's move on to the third principle, which we're not going to cover in a book, but rather we're going to go deep into our hearts to reach yours. Principle 3. The awakened race, when they say something, they do it. The unawakened race often says one thing and does another. Have you ever felt that some people's words sound good, but they don't match up with what they do? Sometimes words may seem beautiful, but they mean nothing because actions speak louder than words. Some words may be gentle, sweet, or even hopeful, but when you look at the actions, you see that they lack intention, lack consistency, and lack sincerity. Words without action are empty words, like seeds without soil to take root, like promises made just to avoid discomfort or to make oneself look good in the eyes of others without any intention of actually doing anything. And when this happens repeatedly, you begin to disobey his words, because deep down you know that what he says isn't who he is. This point isn't to judge others, but rather to hold a mirror up to you. Have you ever said something that you weren't ready to actually act on? Or have you ever done that yourself? You say you're going to start over, love yourself, quit a habit, or take better care of someone, but when the time comes, you procrastinate or avoid it. Breaking your promise to others hurts, but breaking your promise to yourself hurts even more, because it gradually makes you no longer believe in yourself. And when you don't believe in yourself, your power to create life begins to waver. Because in the world of the awakened, words are not just sounds uttered, but vibrations of intention that are transmitted throughout the universe and materialized in our real life. 1. The unawakened man says one thing, but does another. This is one of the deepest forms of dishonesty, because it shows that your inner self and what you project on the outside are not in harmony. You might say, "I want to change," but still choose to do the same thing, because familiarity is safer. You may say, "I love you," but your actions show control, hurtfulness, or disregard. You may say, "I forgive you," but when you confront the other person again, you are still angry. You don't always lie with malicious intent, but because you're still afraid of the truth, still not daring to take action to change, and still constantly separating words from responsibility. The unawakened man promised to love, but neglected. The word love is a big word, but it is often used hastily, spoken when the heart is unsettled, and promised when the heart is not ready to take responsibility. You may say, "I love you," but you don't really listen to the other person. You weren't with her when she was vulnerable. You didn't care about her little important feelings. You often think that love is just words, but forget that love is being there for you, even on days when nothing is beautiful. Why are you neglecting it? Because you still love out of fear, afraid of losing someone, so you quickly say, "love." Afraid of being alone, so you hold on with sweet words. But when the time comes to express it, you can't stay in that love. The unawakened man proclaims change but repeats the same mistakes. I will never be the same again. From now on, I will start over. These words sound powerful and sincere, but they often become echoes that come back time and time again. Because in reality, change doesn't come from words or vows. It takes action, starting small, over and over again, on days when no one is watching and there's no applause. Why is it in a loop? Because you proclaimed you would change, but it came from a fleeting inspiration or from fresh pain. But when those feelings fade away, you will unconsciously revert back to your old behaviors. Because deep down, you haven't changed from your root beliefs, but you're still afraid. You haven't forgiven yourself, and you haven't accepted the shadows hidden within your heart. The unawakened man says he will forgive, but still holds quiet anger in his heart. Forgiveness is not a word spoken lightly, but a profound process of opening the heart to what once hurt. You may say, "I forgive you," but in the silence of your mind, you still feel angry when you think about the past. You still want that person to repent, but you secretly hope that your pain will be compensated. Why are you still clinging? Because true forgiveness requires letting go of the ego. You must dare to face your wounds without winning or waiting for an apology. But you still use pain as a silent power to prove yourself right, to control the other person's guilt, and to foster the image that you were once a victim. The unawakened man tries to create an image of himself as good, even though he still doesn't accept himself inside. You often use your image as a shield. You project a role that looks good, is trustworthy, is kind, and compassionate, because deep down inside, you still feel inadequate, and inadequate to be liked. You act like you have it all, but deep down, you're still filled with fear. Fear of being seen as inadequate, fear of being rejected, fear that if you let anyone see your true self, you'll no longer be loved. Not accepting oneself is the root of performance. Because you still don't love the shadow in your heart, you have to create an image of goodness to cover up your imperfections. So you have a tiring life because you have to perform all the time. And the more you perform, the further you drift away from your true self. The awakened race, words are sacred promises. For evolved beings, words are not just sounds or beautiful language, but are a creative force, a mental focus, a channel for the waves of truth to manifest in the physical world. We don't speak to our heart's content. We don't make promises to console. We don't let words vanish into thin air, because we know that every word is magic, so we speak less but more firmly. Distill words from a responsible heart, honoring words as if honoring the power of the universe, because for us, if you say you will love, we will love. If you say you will do, we will do. Even when faced with obstacles, we still maintain our original intentions, not evading, not running away, not changing with the wind. The awakened race, words are the power to create truth. We don't use promises as a mask, but as a sacred promise. When we say, "We'll be there for you," we will be there. When we say, "We'll do something," we will do it, even when no one is watching. Words and actions are therefore consistent. It's not because we want to look good, but because we don't separate words and actions. Instead, they are one body of divine power within us. What did you say to yourself today? And have you taken action to honor your words? Words are the power of creation in this world, and those who are awakened do not use them carelessly. We think before we speak, and we speak only as our heart desires. We don't even deceive ourselves with empty promises, because we know that if our heart is not ready to act, then we should not speak. Enlightenment is not always about being right, but about using words with pure intention and being honest with those words in every situation. In a world woven with words, every word we speak is a thread that creates truth.
For those who are awakened, words are not just a means of communication, but a force that shapes the world. Therefore, we do not play with this power. We think before we speak, because we know that words are a bond between the heart, soul, and the outside world. We will not say things that we are not ready to do, whether it is promises, words of encouragement, or declarations of identity. We don't try to be good with sweet words, but we will keep quiet if our hearts are not pure enough to speak the truth. Because enlightenment is not about speaking to please everyone, but about speaking with pure intention and making it happen, even if no one sees it. This is the sacredness of words, which become a bridge between the spirit and the physical world. So when we say love, we love. When we say, I'll come back, we return. When we say, I'm changing, we truly suffer to change. Because words that come from truth are the power of the true Creator. And you? Are there any words you've said to someone or yourself that you haven't actually acted on? Some words may sound trivial, like, I will start taking care of myself tomorrow. I will call my parents more often. I will finally forgive him. Or even, I will stop lying to myself. But you know what? Words are powerful, and when you go back and take action on them, even just a little, they can change the course of your entire life. Because what we create in this world doesn't start with changing other people, but starts with being true to our own words. Today, try to choose just one word you have spoken and put it into action. That alone is enough to allow the enlightened power to begin working through your heart. Please stay tuned for the fourth principle of highly evolved being in the next video. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching, listening, and please like, share, and subscribe to support us forever. Thank you.